All right. Hey friends, we're back with day 2, Vlogmas day 2, and we wanted to come in and talk about how do we get our mail. We get this question a lot, and I try to explain the whole RV mail situation by saying it's like a P.O. box, which it is in a way, but we got a list of things we want to cover today to let you know how to go about getting your mail.
Yeah, so there are a couple considerations when you're getting your mail. First off, you need to figure out what state you want to be a resident of. And when we're getting our mail, there's 3 states that really cater to RVers, and those are Florida, Texas, and South Dakota.
Yeah.
There's multiple mail forwarding situations or services in all 3 states, and the states allow you to use the mail forwarding service for official mail like driver's license, vehicle registration, voter registration, etc. That's one of the key things you need to look for when you're trying to figure out where you want to live.
Yeah.
So we technically live in Florida.
Yeah.
And we chose that for a number of reasons. When we started RVing, we lived in Texas, which if you paid attention, there's 3 states, Texas, Florida, and South Dakota. So we never really considered South Dakota because we didn't have any experience with it. But we knew Texas had a couple things that we didn't like or care for, and we were familiar with Florida, and if we end up in a physical location again, it's probably going to be Florida.
Probably.
So
the ocean.
Yeah, the ocean is important.
Yep.
So when we were choosing a service, we looked at Texas and Florida. And in Texas, you're required to have vehicle inspections, which isn't a big deal, but it's a little bit of a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're, I believe, over 26,000 pounds total weight on your RV, you have to have what's known as a Class B license. It's not a commercial license, but it is a RV license for a bigger RV. In Florida, you don't have to have any special license, and you don't have to have any vehicle inspections.
Yeah.
So those are 2 things that were important to us. There's no income tax in any one of the 3 states, so that was really a wash for us.
For us.
But it is a big deal for us. We don't want income tax in any state that we're residents.
Yeah.
The vehicle registration in Florida is super low. Like our trailer costs less than $100 a year to register. And our truck, once we got over the initial registration cost, which is a little bit more expensive because you had to buy a license plate, it's only like $80 a year. So we don't pay continual sales tax or anything like that in Florida, which is a great thing. So it's cheap cost of registration and licensing. And the last thing, which may or may not be a concern for you, is that in Florida, there's a lot of amusement parks, and they all give resident rates.
And I love them all.
And Candace especially loves them, and I like them too. And we like to go down to the Orlando area and do a week or 2 in the amusement parks every year-ish, depending on where we're at, and if there's COVID going on. So we like to get the discount. We get a military discount plus a resident discount. It adds up to quite a nice discount.
Yeah.
So a couple of the mail services out there. There's My RV Mail, which is ours, and close cousin, actually it's a twin, is the Good Sam RV Mail. Mm-hmm. They're the same thing. They're just operating under different names.
Okay.
And then you've got 𝐓𝐴ZE's mail service, and you've got America's Mailbox, which is the South Dakota mail service. And then there's a whole bunch of other lesser known ones out there. I think there's St. Brendan's Isle, which is another Florida one. And then just a bunch of mom and pop shops everywhere in these 3 states. We went with My RV Mail because it's, again, close to where we call our physical location.
Crestview, Florida.
Yep, it's in Crestview, Florida. It had the right service and had a decent price.
Yep.
So that's what we do. So how does it work? Well, we have a physical address that has what's known as a personal mailbox or a mailbox number on it. It's kind of like a house number or an apartment number.
Yep.
And we use that for all our official mail or mail that we want to get that we don't have any idea when it's going to come in or what the situation is on it. Now, we just use that as our physical address. If you look at our driver's license, it's got that address. Our voter's registration has that address. Banking all has that address. Although, I will say, some banks are a little bit iffy with the Real ID Act, and they may or may not give you a hassle about it. That's one thing to check into, is that banks are sticklers on it because of the Real ID Act and the Patriot Act, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, where was that? Oh, yeah. So we use it as a regular address, and we just have our mail sent there.
We was saying for what the address we use it for
Yeah.
Basically, all our mail that we need to still actually get physical mail in. I'll chime in real quick. I also like to use our RV address for if we're traveling on the road and I really want to order something, and it's difficult to find, which you're gonna get to about shipping stuff. But or if I know if we're not gonna get there on time, I'll just ship my order. Like last year for Black Friday, I did a lot of stuff to our RV mailing address because we're on the road and I wanted to do some online Black Friday shopping. So
yeah. So when you know you have packages coming, oftentimes you can ship to a campground that you're going to be at. Sometimes. Some campgrounds will allow it, some campgrounds will not. You have to ask and then get the right mailing address and make sure you're actually going to be there when it comes.
Yes.
So some places are really good about shipping and some places are not so good about shipping, and your stuff comes when they feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind
Especially
of places,
right now during COVID.
Yeah. Those kind of places we just ship to the RV mail. So I get a daily summary if there's a new mail in my email that has a scan of whatever envelope or package or whatever showed up, the address label.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get an idea of what you've got there. And then you get to decide. You can just leave it sit, which is what we usually do. And then periodically you can pick what you want forwarded to you and pick the shipping method. They've got Postal Service, FedEx, and UPS.
Yep.
You can have it shipped to wherever you're at. So when you know you're going to be someplace, you can have all your mail shipped to you. Mm-hmm. If it's something that looks like you need to pay attention to it right now, they'll actually open it and scan it for you. You just click the box and they'll scan it and send it to you. If it's junk mail somehow getting to you, like you know how most mail is, you just shred it and dump it off. You don't have to have it shipped. So that's generally how it works.
Yep.
Our service costs about $200 a year-ish. And your service can range from $10 a month to $20 a month or a little bit more. We pay a little bit more for the extra services.
Yeah.
And then
that scanning is part of it, I bet. Yeah.
And then the postage is extra. So whatever you're getting shipped is extra. So if you get a bunch of packages there, you're going to pay for shipping all the packages. So we generally don't do that. We are big consumers on Amazon because when we're traveling, nobody has time to be going to 20 different stores to find one product. And Amazon, people like to think of Amazon as the big gigantic corporation, but it's actually a clearinghouse for a bunch of small businesses. Some are fulfilled by Amazon, some are not. So, and whatever your thoughts on Amazon are, it's a great service to buy.
Amazon.
It's a great service to buy products that you can review or products that you can get without looking.
RV stuff too, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of RV stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I personally despise going to 3 different stores and not finding what I'm looking for because it's a gigantic waste of time for us. So we use Amazon a lot, and most of the campgrounds we go to, we can get Amazon mail right there. Some campgrounds do not allow it.
Yeah, what you mentioned.
Yeah,
right.
Some don't allow it at all. Some will allow iffy. Some are iffy on it. Some don't have a really good office hours.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of little variables that go into there.
Yeah.
So if we're sketchy about it or we're on the road and we know that we're going to be in a city a couple days from now, we'll just ship to an Amazon box or an Amazon locker.
Yeah, that was like heaven sent. Because once we figure that out, then we'll be able to get our stuff because we don't have to rely on the campground. Again, with funky hours, if something get delivered, you know, they don't deliver it or they wait another day, and then again, that's just adding more to the process. So lockers, if you didn't know that you can do that, just the first time hearing that, Amazon lockers are great. We've done one to Kohl's. You just in the drop down for shipping on Amazon, you look for what's in the area.
Yep.
We put in your zip code or whatever, and they'll pull up what places have lockers.
Yeah, so we use their lockers or their delivery locations, like Whole Foods or Kohl's or other places, all the time, because you kind of have, 2 or 3 days notification of when you're going to be in the area, because that's generally how Amazon ships.
Yep.
And if you don't know where you're going 2 or 3 days from now, or have a rough idea, or a week from now, you just pick a city and say, I'll be there, ship it there.
Yeah.
And then you go pick it up when you get there. It works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Anything else to add about it?
No. I think if y'all have any more questions, if you have anything else, I'll let go. But yeah, that's how we get our mail. It's a RV forwarding service, and so I still would probably call it like a P.O. box, because when you explain it to people, it makes sense. I mean, we can actually go physically there. I don't think you mentioned this.
Yeah.
Or you can go to there in your area. If you're back in your area where your RV mailbox is, you can go pick it up too. So then you avoid the shipping fees if you're back in the area.
Yep. If it's
So-
someplace you pass through, you can let your mail kind of sit there. We've let our mail sit there for a couple months
before,
and then passed through and got all our packages
Mhm.
because we didn't want to pay the extra shipping on the packages.
Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say, if you don't necessarily have to get an RV mailbox, actually you still do. Actually, take that back. You do need it, but for the important stuff like your bank, all that stuff like we mentioned. But you can go paperless fully.
Yeah.
And that address is a placeholder for your driver's license, your bank stuff, etc. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Other than the RV mailboxes, there are a couple options that I've heard people use, but I don't use because we just don't use it. Some people use their kid's address.
Yeah.
Some people will use
family.
Yeah, another family member's address. I've heard some people use UPS stores as addresses. That has mixed reviews on it. So there are other options other than the paid mail service, but that's generally the way most full-time RVers do their stuff is they use a mail forwarding service because they have all the extra things that are involved in it, and it's not just a collection box.
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments and we'll try to address them.
Yeah, well, I always think anytime I do video, live, whatever, pre-recorded like this, I always like, actor, we should have said, we should have said this, we should have that. If it's so, we'll pop it in the comments, in the description box as well. And I think that's all you got. That's all we got. Thank you for watching this video, Vlogmas Day number 2. We'll be back for 3 tomorrow with a new topic. If you have any questions at all covering any parts of RV life, we've been at it going into our 4th year. So we know a little bit now. We're not true beginners, but we do know a lot of beginner stuff as well. So, of course, because we've been through